Welcome back to another opportunity to learn, grow, and come back to that inner power that we all have within ourselves. It's just a matter of uncovering it. As you can see, I'm in a bit of a different environment here. I'm down in Puebla, Mexico at a yoga retreat center with a bunch of friends, creating, supporting, and visualizing the future, what we want to create, what we want to bring as service to the outside world. And today, I wanted to drop into self-awareness. Now, self-awareness is the most powerful tool that we need to have in order to live from a place of power, right? Because how can we move forward if we're not aware of what's holding us back, right? How can we move forward when we're not aware of what's actually holding us back? Self-awareness is simply what it sounds like, right? Becoming aware of ourselves, becoming aware of the way that we think, the patterns that we think in, the thought patterns, becoming aware of habits that we base our behaviors on, how we show up in the world, the core beliefs that determine how we show up in the world and how we react or respond to things. Self-awareness is becoming aware of these things so that if they are not in alignment with the life that we want to live, a higher quality life, then we could change them. If they're not in alignment, we could change them. If they are in alignment, well then we could celebrate, right? It's really important to have this self-awareness. It's the most important to have this self-awareness because it's the foundation for us to, again, live from that place of being centered within our authentic self, from showing up from a place of power. Because if we're not aware of what's holding us back, then we can't move forward. Self-awareness is extremely important. And even more so, it's just the foundation of freedom, self-awareness. Because when we become aware of these things that are really holding us back, maybe the outdated conditioning that we received as a child, right? We operate on those same patterns for a long time if we don't change them. If we're just operating without recognizing kind of the habits that we're operating from, the core beliefs that we're operating from, we could just be living on autopilot, right? No one's really steering the ship. We're just along for the ride, reacting to life. Where instead, if we become self-aware and we can start to change how we're showing up in the world, then we start to create our life. We're proactive about life. We get to choose how we respond to the things that happen in life instead of just reacting to them. And that is really living from a place of crazy power. Because instead of just constantly reacting to what's happening, we get to see it. There's still going to be challenges, and we could choose how we want to respond. Like putting, one foot in front of the other, creating our path the way that we want to, instead of somebody just pushing us to one side. That is true power in living from a place of freedom within ourselves. Okay? Now, how does one build self-awareness? How do we become more self-aware? Right? That's a great question. I have dabbled with it. I have dabbled with this myself, and I have found some extremely powerful tools for me. And if they work for you, try them out. If they don't, try something else, right? The first, and I think for myself, most powerful tool has been, and we've talked about it on the channel before, meditation. Because meditation operates on the premise of becoming aware of our internal environment, the thought patterns that come up as we meditate, and instead of reacting to them, getting caught up in them, we change how we want to show up to those thoughts, and we respond. Instead of reacting, we're responding. So we're sitting in this silence or with a guided meditation, and we get to just witness, instead of getting caught up in, witness and observe what's happening and choose how we want to respond, coming back to our breath, coming back to a mantra. And that is, every time that we dive into meditation, creating even more self-awareness. And there's many ways to meditate. I've made a video on this before. I'll tag it up here, and I want to make a new video soon. Now, the second one is yoga. Yoga is very similar to meditation. I like to think of yoga as a physical meditation. And ironically, I'm here in a Kundalini yoga studio at this yoga retreat center. But and I'm going through this every day. But what happens with yoga is as we're going through each asana, as we're going through each pose, we're becoming aware of our body, number one. We're becoming aware of the internal environment as we do different poses. Maybe there's certain resistances or challenges, or maybe we're getting frustrated with other people around us if they're making noises. And we get to witness how things are churning in our head, how we are reacting to our environment, reacting to our body moving, reacting to the resistance or the challenge of the pose. And this, again, is breeding self-awareness. It's bringing us back to understanding the thought patterns that we are religiously operating on a day-to-day basis. Because almost every day, our thoughts are frequently exactly the same. There have been a few studies done that show that people are often thinking these same exact thoughts on a regular basis. Again, because we're getting caught up in the loop of that habit. And instead of intervening and changing it, it's easy to just get carried on, right, in that tide, in that stream, I'll say. So yoga helps us to become very aware of what's happening in our internal environment. Now, number 3 is a little bit less internal, I guess, but also very internal, is journaling, right? Journaling is so helpful because we're actually putting our thoughts, our reflections, and our experiences down on paper in front of us. So we get to put it down, we kind of read it back, and we're like, yeah, like I'm becoming aware of what's going on in here, what's happening in my day, how I'm reacting to things. Maybe you had a challenging conversation with your parents or with your boss, with a coworker, with a boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. You're writing it down. You're getting to see how you're showing up in your life, getting that reflection, right? That direct reflection on how you're showing up and what's going on in here. And there's different ways to journal, right? You could just do a simple kind of like venting journaling, or you can do kind of like an intentional self-reflection where you have certain questions that you answer on a regular basis, or you can do something that I do on a regular basis, which is at night, right before I go to bed, I write down 2 things that I am grateful for about myself. 2 things I'm grateful for about myself, and 1 thing that was challenging for me that I'm working through, right? So these are the 2 ways that I'm like really happy with how I showed up, right? And that's also building that self-confidence, that trust in myself and awareness. And then the challenge piece is I'm recognizing kind of where I'm getting caught up in here, or just in my body in general. And then I get to become more aware of that challenge, and I get to look at it from more of a macro perspective, becoming further aware. These are just 3 practices that I have found to be extremely beneficial. If they work for you, they work for you. If they don't, then research some other ways to become self-aware. But again, we have to become aware of what's holding us back, because if we're not aware of it, we cannot move forward. We can't live from this place of power. But when we do live from this place of power, the benefits go on forever, right? Because we're living from a place of power, creating our lives the way we want to, responding to challenges the way that we want to, we become more confident. Oh my gosh, when we become more confident, we trust ourselves more, we can show up in our relationships with more clarity, with more peace, right? We can have better conversations. We can have deeper relationships. And then we could just show up in other parts of our lives with more confidence because we have less things holding us back. The things that we want to create, the gifts that we want to share, whether it's music, art, creating a business, we have less things holding us back, less things that are kind of fogging up our head, more clarity and that ability to move forward and create a life that we want. Right? Uncover, right? Your power is already there. It's not creating power. Uncover the power that we already have within ourselves, that authentic self. It's just a matter of kind of taking off some of the stuff that's kind of suppressed that authentic self, uncovering it, and then it starts to really shine, right? And that is power. There's these cool paintings behind here that maybe I'll show you after that really, in my opinion, show living from energy, like prime energy. I'll flip the camera around after. But If this content is kind of hitting you where you want it to, like you're really digesting it, it makes sense, let's have a conversation about it. Maybe you want to ask a question, have a conversation. Let's talk about these things so that we can learn and grow and evolve, not just on our own, but also together as a group and a community. Because that makes things so much more enjoyable. And only if you really enjoyed this, a like goes a long way, and of course a subscription goes a long way as well, but only if you really did enjoy it. Also, if you guys are looking to create a little bit more self-awareness in your life, you want more accountability, you want to work one-on-one with somebody, I am now offering one-on-one coaching, which I'm very excited to share. I've wanted to do this for a long time. So you can also reach out down below and book a session, or we can have a conversation about it and see if you have any questions that you want to go through. Otherwise, I want to flip this around so I could show you exactly what this looks like and a visual representation of living in your power. And then maybe I'll show you some B-roll of this yoga retreat center that I'm at, that I'm extremely grateful to be at down in Mexico. Check this out. This is a person living in their power. Oh my gosh, just the sun, just radiating heat and love and confidence. And then you got another one over there. Boom. Right? And these are all like really good visual representations of growth and living from a place of power. And that is it, my friends. I will see you after this B-roll in the next video. Much love. This is David. That's Merritt, and that's Courtney, the chip connoisseur.
Wait, I'm not filming. Wait. Okay, much better, guys.
This is a dope Temescal, so we basically do like ceremonies in here, get up to 200 degrees, and kind of like a sauna, but with more intention. And this is where we just filmed. David, could you do something cool for us?